The lecture hall of the Zoological Institute was crowded. Professor Challenger sat near the front, impossible to miss because of his great black beard and powerful build. At first, the lecture was calm. The speaker described how life had changed over millions of years. Then he mentioned stories of prehistoric creatures surviving in remote regions. There was laughter from part of the audience. Challenger stood at once.
This is an absolute mockery of science, and listen to these blatant lies.
There is nothing amusing about evidence, he said loudly.
The chairman asked him to sit down, but the room was already excited.
We must have order in the hall.
Professor Summerlee, a thin, elderly scientist with a sharp face and an even sharper voice, challenged him directly. If Professor Challenger has really found living prehistoric animals, Summerlee said, let him tell us where they are and provide proof that can be tested. Challenger faced him.
Would you be willing to test it yourself?
The room became silent. Summerlee lifted his chin. Yes.
Then I will give a properly chosen committee enough information to reach the place. You may examine it with your own eyes.
The audience exploded in cheers and questions.
This cannot be true.
Challenger raised a hand.
Professor Summerlee should not travel alone. The journey will be difficult and dangerous. He will require younger companions. Who volunteers?
I do not remember deciding to stand. One moment I was seated. The next I was on my feet.
Edward Malone, Daily Gazette, I called. I volunteer.
Another man stood at almost the same time. He was tall, thin, and sun-browned, with calm blue eyes.
Lord John Roxton, he said. I know the Amazon country and have travelled there before.
Everyone recognized the name. Lord John was famous as an explorer, sportsman, and hunter. Challenger immediately proposed that Summerlee, Roxton, and I should form the investigating party. The motion was accepted. In a few astonishing minutes, my future had changed completely. Outside the hall, Lord John caught up with me.
So, we are to be travelling companions, Mr. Malone. Come to my rooms. We should get to know one another.
His home was full of maps, books, equipment, and trophies from earlier journeys, yet he spoke without showing off. He wanted to know whether I could shoot, climb, swim, and keep calm under pressure.
I can learn what I do not know, I told him.
Good answer. South America is not a place for a man who thinks he already knows everything.
Lord John told me that during one of his earlier journeys, he had become involved in a serious dispute with a powerful rubber trading group led by a man named Pedro Lopez. Local workers were being treated unfairly and forced to work under terrible conditions. Lord John helped them escape from the group's control and brought an end to Lopez's influence in the area.
It made me some loyal friends. and some dangerous enemies. But I know the rivers, the language used by many local traders and guides, and the kind of men we may need. That could keep us alive.
Over the next weeks, we prepared for the expedition. Professor Summerlee remained openly doubtful about Challenger's claims, but he was determined to investigate them properly. I respected his honesty. He might be skeptical, but he was willing to risk a long journey to discover the truth. Before we left England, I visited Gladys.
I am going to South America, I told her. There may be real danger.
For a moment, her eyes brightened with interest.
Then you have found your chance.
I wanted to say that I was doing it for her, but I remembered her earlier words. A brave act done only to win approval was not true courage.
So I simply said, I hope I can make good use of it.
We sailed across the Atlantic and reached Brazil. At Para, we hired several men to help us. The most important was Zambo, a huge, cheerful man who was strong, loyal, and practical. We also employed 2 experienced rivermen, Gomez and Manuel, and several indigenous boatmen who knew the upper waterways far better than any European traveller. Lord John chose the team carefully. Summerlee spent much of his time studying insects and plants. I kept notes for the Gazette. Every day, the expedition felt more real. Our written instructions from Challenger were to be opened at Manaus at exactly noon on 15 July. The envelope remained sealed during the journey. At last, the day arrived. We sat around a table in a shaded house outside Manaus. Lord John placed his watch beside the envelope.
Noon, he said, and cut it open.
Inside was a single sheet of paper. It was blank. Summerlee stared at it. "This is ridiculous." Before anyone could answer, a deep,
On the
familiar
contrary,
voice
Professor
came from the
Summerlee,
doorway.
it is perfectly sensible.
Professor Challenger walked into the room. He had secretly travelled to Brazil and planned to guide us himself. No written directions, he explained, could be as reliable as his own memory. He had kept his decision private because he did not want arguments, reporters, or curious travellers following him. Summerlee looked horrified. "You mean I must spend the whole journey with you?"
The scientific value of my company will more than compensate for any personal discomfort, Challenger replied.
Lord John laughed.
Then our team is complete.
Challenger spread a map across the table, though the final destination was not marked.
We leave tomorrow, he said. From this point onwards, we are going into a country that very few outsiders have seen. Later, we will go beyond even that.
I looked around the table at the 4 of us, Challenger, Summerlee, Lord John, and myself. We were different in age, character, and purpose. Yet we now shared one question. Was there truly a lost world waiting beyond the Amazon?